What if the high levels of stress that you're experiencing at work is a sin you're committing against yourself? What? Wait, stress equals sin? In this video, I'm sharing an eye-opening perspective of a book that I recently read called, here it is here, The Four Agreements, that absolutely rocked my view of the way I see traditional sin. If you're curious about this concept, you're sick and tired of working for people who are toxic, and you're seeking a way out, this video is for you. Hey, I'm Levane, and I worked in corporate finance for over 10 years. Successful on paper, but my body was racked with pain, and I knew there had to be more. Now, I help soul-led women ditch stress and reclaim their rhythm so they can confidently pursue work that feels good right down to their tippy toes. Today in this video, you're going to learn about the traditional view of sin versus the view of sin presented in this book, The Four Agreements, how you've been conditioned to accept traditional sin, and the high price you're paying for being compliant with this view. And by the end, I'm going to give you some practical steps that you can take away after you've watched the video to start seeing your high stress levels as not as a personal failure, but as a signal pointing you back to alignment so you can begin reclaiming your rhythm. You've been conditioned to believe sin is an act of disobedience or ingratitude toward a God that's both separate and punitive. I don't know about you, but I was definitely conditioned in this way. I was brought up to believe that if you did something bad, that you were committing a sin and you were a sinner, and that this presence, this being that was up there in the sky, sitting on a throne with a fluffy cloud underneath and watching me to see if I was good or bad. Okay, stay with me here. So now I'm going to talk about the definition of sin according to the author here, Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. All right. He says that in this book, he talks about something called impeccable. Okay. So this is actually one of the first agreements in this book, being impeccable with your word. I'll keep with me here. All right. Keep with me. So he defines impeccable and he breaks down the root word of impeccable, meaning without sin. The im is without, okay, sin. So without sin. And he says in the book here that sin is really going against yourself. It's like an act of self-rejection, implying that self-rejection is the true sin. I got thinking about this and I started applying it to my work in the past and my health in terms of my body. I remember when I was working in corporate finance, I worked in corporate finance for over 10 years. I worked with high net worth clients and I worked with investment advisors, some of the top investment advisors in the country where I live. And so there was a very much awareness of high demand, high performance, and just getting things just thrown at me left, right, and center any time of the day, regardless of what I was working on. And so this constant being on this hamster wheel of work and paperwork and getting ready for client meetings and receiving people at the front door and doing all sorts of stuff, it started to take a toll on me. It started to take a toll on my body and was expressed as high stress levels and just overwhelm. And I also not only felt stress in my body, but I also was feeling pain. There was pain, a lot of pain in my body at that time, and I was working through that. I'm a really ambitious person, and there's nothing wrong with being ambitious. It's just about how you're going about it. And I wasn't listening to the signals that my body was telling me. And my body was feeling a lot of pain, and it was telling me to slow down. But I didn't. I'm also a manifesting generator in human design. If you know, you know. And so I was constantly busy, constantly doing. Okay. I never slowed down. My work was so busy. I always joked my coworkers that I was going to bring like a little potty and put it by my desk to go to the washroom because I could barely even get away from my desk to go to the washroom. Like that's how busy I was. If you are in the position that I was in, I totally get it. But if your body is giving you a signal, whether, it's stress, anxiety, whatever the situation may be, your body is telling you something for a reason. And it's really important to heed the signal and not ignore it. I ignored it. I felt it, but I ignored it. And I paid a very high price for doing that. Whenever you say yes, when you really mean to say no, that's a small act of going against yourself. Ruiz talks about something in the book called a book of law. So I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what he's talking about in this book. The book of law is basically a book that you hold deeply within yourself on a subconscious level. You're most likely not even aware of a lot of the things that are going on a deeper level within you, meaning beliefs, right? So you may have a belief that you don't think you're smart enough, or you may have a belief that you don't think that you can leave a current job because you're not worth more somewhere else. Just give you an example. And this book of law also includes all of the memories and all the experiences that you've had ever since you were born, right? Basically, since you popped out your mama's womb. So you've been collecting all of these experiences, which have been now transforming into beliefs that you have. And some of these beliefs can serve you okay, but there's a lot of them that are not serving you in your best interests. Even though some of these beliefs that you have on a subconscious level are not in your best interests, your book of law makes you feel safe because these are things that you have believed about yourself from the very beginning. And you don't want to go against yourself, right? So that's why you feel safe with what's going on in your book of law. Like I mentioned, there are some beliefs you hold about yourself subconsciously that are working for you, okay? But the majority of the beliefs that you have, which are limiting beliefs, are not working for your favor. And this is what I mean by the price you're paying for believing everything in your book of law. Ruiz says in the book that about 95% of the things that you believe are all lies. And why they're lies? Because you didn't have any say in a lot of the things that you believe today in your book of law. Society even has conditioned a lot of your beliefs that are in your book of law. That the belief that, oh, I am really separate from this person, or I'm separate from that person, or I have to be this certain way at work so that I can get ahead, right? Because the root of all of this is fear. Fear that you're feeling about yourself in certain situations, and a fear of the unknown. And your brain is just wanting to keep you safe. And that's your book of law. It just wants to keep you safe. It doesn't want you going out there exploring the world or, checking out what's going on, how you can make things different. It's like, saying to you, no, 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 stay where you are, collect the money. It pays your rent. It pays your food. And I get that. Okay. I totally get that. But from my own experience, okay, that's all I can say from my own experience. For me, that wasn't enough. I got to the point where, yes, I was making a lot of money in my job, but I wasn't happy. And I was going in to work like I didn't want to be there. I couldn't wait till break time to go downstairs to the Starbucks and get a matcha latte with almond milk or oat milk because I just had to get out of there. And my lunch times and my breaks were like my salvation. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is not right. My work should not be based on I'm looking forward to going down to Starbucks to get a drink because I can't deal with the people in here, right? So it got me thinking, and I was like, no, it's not right. So this is all my own personal experience. And what happens when you are believing what is in your book of law? I feel you're starting to pay a very high price for that. You're paying the high price in terms of stress levels, anxiety, fear. You start competing with other people. Maybe you start doing things that you thought you would never, ever, ever do because you want to get ahead, feeling stuck, not taking chances, not saying to yourself, hey, I know I'm not happy where I'm at. in this position, but I'm afraid to take a chance to go explore and see what I could do because I know there's more to life than sitting here in a job that I hate. What is in your book of law? What are the beliefs that you are holding within yourself that you don't even realize that's keeping you where you're at? Because maybe you want to leave and do something else. You're not satisfied where you are. Because you know what? I believe with every fiber of my being that you and I were not meant to be living on this earth, this planet, this beautiful planet of ours. We weren't here to be in work that doesn't bring us satisfaction, that doesn't bring us joy, doesn't make us feel good right down to our tippy toes. To be in a position where you don't feel you're getting paid enough. You don't feel like you're getting paid what you are worth. Now, before I go any further, I want to share something really important with you. If you feel that you're in a position where you're stressed, you know what, right? You're stressed the you know what out, and you're looking for a way to move forward. You're looking for some clarity, some direction, then I want you to consider something. I put together a transformational experience. This is in my one-to-one coaching. How do I know it's transformational? Because I did it myself. Everything that I've learned over the last 13 years about the body, about health, work, that has really allowed me to change my perspective of my own life and has served me so well. People that have gone through my program have also gotten the same results. If you know that you were meant to do more, if you know that you want to do work that feels really good in your body while also paying the bills, if you feel called to, go to the link down below in the description box. You can book a complimentary discovery call to learn more about my transformational program. Most systems, cultural or corporate, condition us to go against ourselves, to perform, obey, hustle, conform. But the real rebellion is deciding to be impeccable with yourself, deciding not to reject yourself. This isn't about quitting your job tomorrow. It's about where you're betraying yourself and starting to shift in small ways. Homework time. Oh, yes, you know I love homework. Okay. All right. So one thing I'd like you to do, a couple of things actually, pick up a copy of this book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I'll leave the name of the book in the description box below. Read the introduction and then the chapter 1, which is being impeccable with your word, which is actually the first agreement of the 4 in the book. Start out small, my friend. You know, you only need to read 5 pages a day, let's say, to get through it. But I'm pretty sure that once you get your hand on the book, you will have a very hard time putting it down. It is amazing. After you've read the intro and chapter 1, here are some questions for you that you can contemplate in meditation. You can take out in nature with you, or you can pull out your journal if you like to write to get in touch with yourself. Where am I rejecting my own truth in order to fit into a system that doesn't honor me? How does fear of the unknown shape the story I tell myself about leaving my current job? Which words from authority figures, such as bosses, parents, or teachers, have I internalized as truth? And are they actually true for me? If my body had a voice, what words would it use to describe how work feels right now? And the last question, what new words of sovereignty could I speak daily to remind myself of my worth outside of a paycheck? Sin isn't about morality. It's about self-rejection. Stress is one of the ways your body is saying that you're out of alignment. The most radical act that you can take is to stop going against yourself. Did you find this video helpful? If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. Remember, you are a cosmic princess and you weren't born to be bossed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.